I want to ask you a question. Have you ever dreamt of having superpowers? Like Superman? That you being able to fly or have his super strength? Or maybe have his X-ray vision so you could see through things, like through clothing? I'm sure as a kid everyone had those dreams. Imagine what you could do. And we brought this childhood dream to life. I'm the founder of Nuka. And Nuka is the first camera with Superman's X-ray vision, powered by AI. It shows people how they were born, fully nude. But let's have a look. Nuka rocked the planet. We had coverage from major newspapers all around the world, Times of India up to Fox News. And lots of people wanted to buy the camera. Some people wanted to buy stocks from our company, and I got invited to speak to you here today. So who thinks our camera is a great idea? Anyone? Raise your hands. Who would buy a camera? Anyone? Oh, cool. And who wants to try it? Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, a lot of people loved it. They had a lot of fun in trying it out, and they almost got addicted in seeing what picture comes out and seeing the pictures of their friends. They had a lot of fun. But we also got emails where people called us creepy perverts. And some people apparently think the idea to sell such a camera is maybe not so good. Well, I hope it doesn't come as a surprise, but we thought so too. Our company is fake, but the camera is real. Me and my friend Benedikt Groß built it. You might ask, why did we do that? Why did the two guys make such a creepy gadget? Well, wait, it was an innocent childhood dream of being like Superman, of having superpowers. This progress in AI, it's so fast, it makes you feel like we're gaining superpowers. Benedikt and I were both working with AI. And during a university reunion last year, it was quite late already. We were discussing all this progress. What's happening? What's possible now? If this gadget actually is possible, let's try and build it. So a lot of these tech ideas, a lot of tech startups probably start like that. Late night, a few beers, crazy, maybe innocent and naive idea. Remember that website that promised you to stay in contact with all your friends from high school and college? Probably started like that. It got super successful, but it had some side effects at the end. It wasn't that innocent anymore. It led to the spread of fake news, extremist positions, and almost dividing society. So Benedikt and I said we still want to start as innocent as such a tech startup. Let's pretend to be a tech startup. Because we were interested in the what if such a camera was available to everyone? What would people do? What will happen? Benedikt and I actually studied thinking about what if. We met at a course called Design Interactions at the Royal College of Art in London. And they collected a very weird bunch of people, crazy scientists, artists, designers, programmers. And we used something called speculative design to think about futures and the impact of technologies. So we created mostly fictional projects about what if something's possible, what if something happens. So for example, back then cameras popped up everywhere, surveillance cameras. And I thought about what if that gets even more out of hand? What would people do? Cameras everywhere, surveillance. Probably at one point they want to protect themselves, protect their face from being scanned. So maybe at one point it would be appropriate to go on the street like this to protect yourself. Other projects dealt with serious questions like, what if we could all live up to 200 years? What will actually happen to our family structures? if we meet our great-great-grandchildren and can still have children of our own? What happens to overpopulation? That's quite relevant questions because billionaires are spending actually billions of dollars right now to make this dream of longevity come true. So these fictional scenarios are very powerful in visualizing and realizing what's coming, what's happening to all of us. And that's very important right now because everything seems possible suddenly now. And our camera is possible. It works. It shows a picture of a naked person. So I assume here my audience probably hasn't seen each other naked. So what about the person sitting next to you? He's a picture of you, of your face on a naked body. So is it really you naked? Is it real? Let's see how Nuka works to find out. So Nuka first takes a photograph of you, and then a so-called interrogator, it's a special AI program, analyzes this picture. So what gender you have, what age, what hair color, what ethnicity. And all these properties became our prompt. And a prompt is like a magic spell. It tells the AI exactly what to do. So it literally tells it, we want a picture of a naked person with that age, that gender, that hair color, etc. And we had a system with several billion possible combinations, much more than there are people on the planet. So this should be enough, we thought. And then we included also the pose someone was standing in, and we copied the face from the original image. And these were some results. So you could say, yeah, probably that's the person next to me naked, or her, maybe. And only the person herself would know if that's really her naked or not. Or in that case, when I was blonde, if I have some nice abs, or maybe if I have a little belly. So you could see, I would probably have to take down my clothes. I would literally have to bare all to prove that this isn't me or not. I won't do that here, don't worry. And I'm sure no one else would want to do it. And I guess, like everyone sees that the images aren't real yet. But what about other outcomes from AI? What about ChatGPT? What about the information that ChatGPT provides you in a text? Is that true? Is it real? You would say probably it is. Probably, that's the interesting word. These services like ChatGPT and the AI we used for our image generation, they work with something called generative artificial intelligence. And that works with probabilities. So what's the most probable word to follow in the text? And what is the most probable body for, let's say, a 25-year-old woman? Yeah, that's probably her body. And what about the body of a 70-year-old man? You would say, maybe, but it's maybe less likely. And while we developed Nuka and tested it, we discovered some more of those less likelies. Most women had quite big breasts, and most men were very ripped. And there was a problem at the beginning, a funny one. We fixed that. The AI didn't really seem to know the reality of male genitalia. It was far away from reality, what it showed. So what happened? Remember, it works with probabilities, but only with the probabilities it knows, within the set of data it was trained with. So in our case, with a set of images of naked people. So probably the AI we used hadn't seen many naked men. It was trained with some preferences in mind. So probably a preference towards women, probably towards younger people, and maybe towards one ethnicity. And very probably there was no image of a disabled naked person in it. So you see, it doesn't really represent reality neutrally. It never meant to be. It was like a set of dreams and desires of the creators. But there are AIs that have the claim to be realistic, to represent our reality. ChatGPT is, and there are also image generators that do. And I tested one. So I asked it to create an image of a rich kid, and this came out. And then I asked it to create an image of a poor person in the ghetto, and then this came out. And then I asked it to create a terrorist. So you'd see the quality of the images is very realistic, but the content is full of cliches. So there is no AI that is neutral. And therefore, the representation of our reality, of our world in these AIs is not neutral. It never really is, because there is no data set in the world that is neutral, that represents our reality as it is. It's super complex. So it's always, in a way, biased towards something. And this is a so-called algorithmic bias. And it's inherent to all AI in some form. Regarding our camera, we realized this bias goes even deeper, it's even more interesting. We realized even the pose you were standing in can imply some bias on the result too. So if you would stand like a bodybuilder, suddenly the results were more masculine, more muscular. And if you would stay in a very cliché female pose, the results were more feminine. So you could say like, wait, you have to stand in a certain pose to be feminine, to be a woman in this version of reality of our AI. That sounds wrong. That sounds actually quite wrong. Women were, in their reactions, a bit more aware that this whole thing is a bit wrong. They said things like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to look like, or even my husband wished I looked like that. Men's reactions were a bit different. I told you we had lots of people who wanted to buy the camera, but finally all requests, all of them, came only from men. And when we fixed the problems with the genitals, men were very jokey about it, how it looks and how big it is. The reactions were different for everyone, but everybody experienced firsthand, if you want, through their own body, that the AI doesn't really show reality. It just uses this distorted, incomplete set of data and the probabilities within it. So they had this experience. But it got a bit more interesting. I usually took several pictures of a people. In some, the bodies turned out quite beautiful, perfect, probably less real, and in some, not so much. And I always ask if I can use the images in an exhibition. And finally, men and women alike, most people, even those who seem to have a high value for authenticity, they usually only wanted me to show the more perfect picture, the one that is probably less real, the one that is, kind of out of an alternative reality. So you see, the camera brought pinches of vanity to light from everyone. If you want, it set a little trap for these vanities. And the interesting thing is we didn't really create that. It was a side effect of this technology, of the side effect of the AI we used. So you see, the side effects of technology can be a bit more complex or interesting than the obvious ones. And the obvious ones, in case of such a camera, would be that people would use it for non-consensual images, so-called deepfakes, as it happened in the past. So we have to worry about what people do with AI. At one point, we have to worry what AI does by itself. But we really have to worry about the side effects that affect our human weaknesses, our vanities, our addictions, our temptations, probably our cravings for superpowers, our cravings for alternative realities where everything's perfect, because we all have them. That is quite human. But the technologies, they accelerate that extremely, and AI does that really good. They are intelligent in a way that they set these little traps for us. Social media does that really good. And AI will do that even better, as you saw like with Nuka. And Nuka is just an art project. It's a tiny project. 2 people created it. And we are just artists. We're not tech founders who spend all these billions of dollars in their AI project. So you see the journey with AI is just at the beginning. So you could imagine what will come. Imagine all the cravings, and imagine these traps the AI will set for us, for vanities, for our addictions. It will give us, in a form, superpowers that we all crave for. But in reality, there's probably only one superpower that we probably already have, I hope. It's the superpower to understand things and to be aware of all those stuff and to hopefully stay in control. And I hope this camera, even though it's very little, helps you a bit keep this superpower and use it. Thank you very much.